Emily Longley was born in England in 1994 to Mark and Carolyn Longley, beginning her life as the first daughter in a young and supportive family. 2 years later, her younger sister Hannah was born, completing a household that would remain close-knit throughout the girl's childhood. The sisters grew up sharing routines, friendships, and experiences that helped define their bond. Their parents encouraged stability, communication, and openness, creating an environment where both children felt secure and connected. When Emily was 9 and Hannah was 7, the Longley family left England and moved to Auckland, New Zealand. The transition marked a major change, but the move quickly became a defining part of their lives. New Zealand offered a calmer environment, new opportunities, and a community that welcomed the sisters as they adjusted to their surroundings. Over time, Auckland felt like home, providing both girls with a sense of belonging as they continued to grow into their identities. As Emily entered her teenage years, her behavior began shifting in ways that concerned her parents. She started spending increasing amounts of time with people they believed were negatively influencing her choices and priorities. Their concerns eventually grew strong enough that they decided a more structured environment was necessary. With hopes of giving her a chance to reset and find stability, they arranged for her to return to the United Kingdom. She moved to Bournemouth, where she lived with her grandparents in a home focused on routine and support. In 2010, Emily enrolled at Brockenhurst College, planning to study business while pursuing her dream of becoming a model. She was known for her outgoing, funny, and confident personality, traits that helped her build friendships and adapt to her new surroundings. During this period, Emily's path intersected with that of Elliot Turner, marking the beginning of a relationship that would gradually influence the direction of her life. Emily returned to New Zealand in April 2011 after spending 6 months away from her family, marking a visit filled with anticipation and emotional relief. When she arrived at the airport, she spotted her father waiting for her, and she immediately ran toward him, hugging him tightly while telling him how much she had missed him. The reunion set the tone for the trip, creating a sense of familiarity and warmth that her family had been longing to experience again. That same day, they went to her favorite pizzeria, a place tied to many family memories, where she updated them about her life in England. She spoke about school, her modeling aspirations, and the friends she had made. She also mentioned her relationship with Elliot Turner, explaining directly that she did not view it as serious and intended to end it once she returned to England. Throughout the following weeks, Emily enjoyed a peaceful and happy routine surrounded by her family. There were no signs of stress or trouble, and nothing suggested any danger awaiting her back in the United Kingdom. She appeared relaxed, comfortable, and focused on the positive changes she hoped to make. As her departure approached, the mood shifted and saying goodbye became difficult for everyone. Emily reassured her family that she would return in 5 months for the Rugby World Cup, giving them a clear plan to hold on to. A few days after flying back to England, she texted her father to tell him she had broken up with Elliot, affirming her earlier intentions. During this period, Elliot reacted with jealousy to photos she had posted with other boys during her visit, adding tension that contrasted sharply with her calm time in New Zealand. Elliot Turner was a 20-year-old from a wealthy family, known throughout Bournemouth and Poole for his presence in local clubs and for being part of a group of young men who referred to themselves as the Firm. Despite his attempts to appear confident and influential, he had earned the reputation of All Talk Turner, a nickname reflecting how people around him viewed his constant bragging and exaggerated stories. Much of his lifestyle depended on money provided by his parents, and he was deeply focused on maintaining an image he believed made him appear powerful. Online, he crafted a persona built around names such as Scarface or God, presenting himself as someone to be feared or admired. Turner had a history of obsessive behavior in relationships. At 16 in 2008, he was issued a police harassment warning related to a previous girlfriend, establishing a documented pattern of fixation and emotional volatility. He frequently carried a hammer for what he described as protection, a detail that reinforced the persona he attempted to project. Friends and acquaintances described him as someone determined to appear like a gangster, Even though much of his behavior was rooted in insecurity and performance, Elliot met Emily Longley in December 2010. At first, their relationship carried the excitement and intensity common to many young couples. But it quickly shifted into controlling and aggressive behavior on his part. Arguments between them escalated easily, and Emily became increasingly unsettled by the tone he took. In a note she once wrote to him, she referenced threats he had made to kill her, as well as aggression and intimidation that had become a regular part of their interactions. These concerns reflected the instability building inside the relationship. Over time, Emily made the decision to leave him because of his behavior. Elliot's reaction to rejection was characteristically intense, and he struggled to accept her attempts to distance herself, creating the tension that would shape the final stage of their relationship. On the night of May 6, 2011, Emily Longley went out with friends, captured by surveillance cameras arriving at a local nightclub. The evening began as a social outing, but events quickly shifted when Elliot Turner discovered messages on her Facebook account that suggested she had been seeing another man. Furious and emotionally charged, he made his way to the nightclub, intent on confronting her. Once there, the situation escalated. Emily, feeling cornered, threw her drink at him. Elliot responded aggressively, verbally threatening her and criticizing her clothing, which he considered too revealing. Friends later reported hearing him declare that he would kill her, go to prison, and still be a millionaire, indicating a willingness to act on violent impulses without fear of long-term consequences. Emily decided to leave the club, attempting to distance herself from the confrontation. Elliot, however, followed her and persuaded her to return to his home under the pretense of having a quieter place to talk. Neighbors observed the two of them entering the Turner residence, a house in Bournemouth where Elliot lived with his parents. The events of the evening concluded within the household. Though no one outside the home witnessed the interaction itself, the following morning, around 9 a.m., Elliot's mother, Anita Turner, contacted emergency services, reporting that Emily was unresponsive. Following the operator's guidance, she attempted first aid and other measures, but paramedics arriving at the scene could only confirm that Emily Longley had died. Observers later noted that Anita's tone during the call appeared unusually calm, not matching the severity of the situation. Though no conclusions were drawn at that time, thousands of miles away in New Zealand, Emily's father, Mark Longley, learned of her death through a series of missed calls and a voicemail from his younger daughter, Hannah, with Carolyn, Emily's mother, audible in the background screaming that Emily was dead. The news came suddenly, shocking the family and initiating a period of immediate grief and disbelief. These events, captured through surveillance, witness accounts, and emergency response, provide the factual context for the final hours leading directly to Emily's death. Following Emily Longley's death, police began a formal investigation into the circumstances surrounding her passing. Initially, authorities informed the family that Emily might have died in her sleep, a suggestion that did not align with the observations of her parents. Mark and Carolyn Longley questioned the explanation, noting that Emily was young, healthy, and full of energy. Investigators began reviewing the evidence from the previous night, including surveillance footage, witness statements, and details from her interactions with Elliot Turner. They learned about the nightclub argument, where Emily had thrown a drink at him, and the threats he made to her friends. Investigators also discovered a post on Emily's Facebook page from May 5th, in which she wrote about having a stalker who repeatedly called her, stating, "You don't know me, but I know everything about you." The autopsy did not provide a definitive cause of death, but indicated injuries consistent with strangulation. Medical experts noted that the findings matched those expected if pressure had been applied to her neck, raising concerns for investigators about potential foul play. Due to suspicions surrounding the Turner household, police installed listening devices inside the home to gather further evidence. The recordings revealed Elliot coaching his mother on what to say to police, as well as his father, Lee Turner, expressing concern while ultimately going along with the plan. Most significantly, the recordings captured Elliot admitting that he caused Emily's death, detailing his anger and frustration toward her in explicit terms. Elliot Turner was arrested 1 week after Emily's death, His legal team attempted to challenge the reliability of the audio evidence, but the judge permitted it to be used during the trial. The prosecution began examining the pattern of threats, the circumstances of the nightclub confrontation, Emily's social media posts, and the autopsy findings to build a factual account of events. Elliot's behavior, combined with the actions of his parents in attempting to influence statements and hide evidence, formed the central focus of the case. This phase of the investigation provided the foundation for the legal proceedings that would follow, establishing a timeline and a factual record of Elliot Turner's involvement in Emily Longley's death and his parents' role in obstructing the investigation. The trial of Elliot Turner began in May 2012, focusing on the events of May 6, 2011, and the evidence collected during the investigation. Turner claimed he acted in self-defense, describing a confrontation in his bedroom with Emily Longley that escalated unexpectedly. He admitted to grabbing her by the neck with his right hand, stating that he intended to stop her from going nuts during the argument. Turner insisted he did not strangle her intentionally and believed she had fallen asleep afterward. He expressed disgust with himself, claiming in testimony that he had written a note to his mother, indicating he planned to leave for Spain after the incident. Observers noted that his passport and packed bags were found in his room. Supporting the claim that he had considered leaving the country, investigators also presented evidence obtained from the Turner family computers. Searches included phrases such as death by strangulation and how to avoid punishment for a crime, reflecting preoccupation with criminal outcomes and consequences. Testimony highlighted jealousy as a central motive for Elliot's actions. Luke Ashford, who had spent the night with Emily prior to her death, provided statements demonstrating the pattern of controlling and possessive behavior that marked Elliot's relationship with her. Additional evidence included letters written by Elliot from prison, in which he bragged about his future prospects, claiming he would soon be driving a Range Rover and selling the rights to his story. On May 22, 2012, the jury returned verdicts for all defendants. Elliot Turner was found guilty of murder and perverting the course of justice. He received a life sentence with a minimum term of 16 years, plus 9 months to run concurrently for perverting the course of justice. His parents, Anita and Lee Turner, were convicted of perverting the course of justice for their roles in attempting to hide evidence and delay emergency services. Each was sentenced to 27 months in prison and released in 2013 after serving half their terms following the verdicts. Emily's father, Mark Longley, spoke publicly, expressing both grief and pride. He described the shock of losing his daughter, the repeated threats Elliot had made, and the devastating impact on their family. He stated that he hoped Turner would reflect on his actions every day of his imprisonment, emphasizing the irreparable loss of a young life that had been filled with potential and promise. In October 2020, reports emerged that Elliot Turner had been beaten by fellow inmates while serving his life sentence. The incident occurred after he displayed photos of Emily Longley in his prison cell and boasted about receiving letters from women who referred to themselves as his fans. Fellow prisoners reacted violently, in part due to his continued boasting about a future life filled with luxury, including champagne, Bentleys, and attention from women. The incident highlighted ongoing concerns about his attitude and the absence of genuine remorse for his actions. Elliot Turner is expected to be eligible to apply for early release in approximately 5 years. Authorities, media outlets, and observers have expressed concern about whether he has internalized the consequences of his actions, or if he continues to maintain the same arrogant and unrepentant behavior that characterized his life before and after the crime. The parole board's decisions will play a critical role in determining the potential for his reintegration and whether public safety considerations and accountability will be prioritized in any evaluation. The final reflection in Emily Longley's story returns to her life and the impact she had on those around her. Her family continues to express pride in her accomplishments, her character, and the way she embraced life despite challenges. They mourn the future she will never experience, reflecting on the milestones, celebrations, and everyday moments that were lost. Mark Longley described the profound grief of not seeing the woman Emily would have grown into, recalling her personality, humor, and the light she brought to their lives. Hannah and Carolyn also remain affected by the loss, holding memories of Emily close while acknowledging the sudden and tragic end of a young life filled with potential.